It's time for our weekly visit with George Teague on CBSN Dallas Fort Worth. Yes, of course, George Teague, the regular on Cowboys game day every Sunday morning on CBS 11, the former Cowboy, the defender of the star, and also the former first-round draft pick of the Green Bay Packers some 29 years ago. But there were no mixed feelings for you, George, on Sunday afternoon at Lambeau Field, right?
No, because although I had some really, really good memories of Green Bay, we talked about the emotions of what it is to play up there and the fans and all that. I'm still a Cowboy fan through and through, and I retired as a Dallas Cowboy. And so, this loss was hurtful to me as a Cowboy fan.
Yeah, and it was hurtful to Mike McCarthy in particular, as a former Packers coach and current Cowboys coach. He expressed those emotions not only after the game but also on the day after too. You really got the feeling that this was a game that the Cowboys wanted to win for him.
Yes, you know what I like the most about this part of the game, not the losing, but he actually showed a different side, I felt like, as a coach, that piece that maybe you hadn't seen in the locker room, the intensity, the willingness to want to win, because most of the time you see him and he's kind of soft-spoken, the nice guy, and not really calling anyone out. But, boy, I tell you, when he got it up to that podium after the game and he started going off, I was like, okay, coach.
Yeah, I like it.
See a little something here.
Yeah, and he didn't soften it the next day either. When talking to the media was talking about what Micah Parsons said after the game. Micah, candid critique on the run defense that, hey, this is something we got to fix it. We're gonna fix it. And he was McCarthy in his comments to the press. They were, he obviously said the same thing, but he's like, what do you expect me to say? We're not patting each other on the back after a game like that. I like that.
No, those are tough games too, just to play in. When you were up, you kind of had things in control and it just kind of spiraled out of their hands a little bit. And we're going to talk about this stuff on Sunday a little bit about our running game, and really take a hard look at that. I think it's going to be pretty interesting once we study and look at it, really see if we can get some answers onto what's really happening with that. But you know what, they did run the ball a lot, 200 yards or whatever, but there was 3 key passes
yeah
they went for touchdowns that we got to worry about.
What's interesting about that rookie second round draft pick Christian Watson, I like studying especially wide receivers going into the draft, and that was a guy that I really like. But when I'm studying, I'm just, I've got YouTube videos. I don't have access to every play that he has run in college or whatever. And they didn't throw the ball a lot at North Dakota State, but it was that athleticism, his ability to separate on deep balls and stuff like that. So we came up to the draft and I was like, okay, Cowboys need a wide receiver, just Christian Watson. And a little birdie said in my ear that he can't catch. Cowboy scouts say, nope, he's not on their board. He can't catch the football. And sure enough, first play of the season, he drops a 65-yard touchdown pass, what would have been one. And then in the first drive of this game, 2 drops. But as it turned out, maybe he can't catch, but the Cowboys couldn't catch him either once he did catch.
Well, I think it's kind of like basketball. You tell them to keep shooting themselves out of it, until they actually make a basket or two. And I think that's kind of what happened with him. And I hate it was this kind of game because actually probably what happened is the ball probably froze to his gloves when it hit his hand. It just kind
That's right. Yeah. If it was a normal warm day, then it would have just bounced off. All right, so you touched on the run defense a little bit. We've seen it in earlier games this year where teams have been able to gash the flanks of the Cowboys defense. At first blush, that looks like still a problem area in that, and against a team that likes to, that leads the league in sacks, that could be a weakness, and it's been exploited a little bit here.
Well, that's definitely the case. I think that we're so good at pass rushing and getting up the field. the interesting comment I heard actually came from McCarthy again. He said, because this is the way our team is built, meaning we're built with pass rushers. Doesn't mean they can't necessarily play the run, but that's a different type of style of play. So even when you think of second level guys, linebackers, Michael Parsons, he's a pass rusher too. And, he's got to get better in the run fit part of it as well. So 2 games with that back to back with a lot of yardage, man, they're really going to have to focus on it this week because it's not going to stop. You got Dalvin Cook coming up. I know we'll talk about that in the next segment. But man, there's a lot of good running teams left that we got to face, and so we're going to have to address it.
Okay, so one more topic on the Packers game on offense and the interceptions and the mix-up between Dak and whether it be a tight end or a wide receiver on those throws over the middle. What are you seeing there?
No, those are to me, that's also a simple fix. And you can see that they actually corrected that in the game where CeeDee Lamb went behind the free safety the first time. Dak threw the ball, interception. Man, I wish I could have got one of those that easy when I was playing with too. But you saw them. I'm glad they actually showed it where there was actually some discussion about between them two and others about he needed to come underneath. CeeDee Lamb I'm talking about. And so when later they ran the exact same route, he came in. Now he took a lick, he got hit, but it didn't come out to be the interception. So I think those things can be easily fixable. I put that one more on. Everyone will probably blame Dak. What he see, what he look at, but I think that was our wide receiver trying to take an easy way out and go.
Well, and it's always all the interceptions are on the quarterback. The fans. All right, Dak can't. Look how off he is. Whatever. The same thing happened in the Chicago game. Eddie Jackson out of Alabama with his pick right over the middle, and Daryl Johnston called CeeDee Lamb out immediately on the TV broadcast. So you got to cross the face of the safety. So what that is it's a sight adjustment for the receiver, knowing where they are, and he's got to make that decision. As the play is run, is that how that works?
As the play is going, yes. As the play is going, he has to go underneath. So if you're looking and you got a free safety in the middle of the field, if you're supposed to run a dig, meaning some type of in route, you have to go in front of the in front of the safety. That's just a normal rule because the quarterback wants to try to get it there and not throw it over his head. That it's a CD just has to know that it was a lazy piece on, I can go in there, but no, it's easier for me to go out and around him, and it's going to end up being an interception. So I like the words that you use of being it's not necessarily a sight adjustment, meaning change the route. It's just knowing the angle that you have to take so that you put the quarterback in the best position to get you the ball as well.
Yeah, because the quarterback's got to release the ball. It's an anticipation, right? That okay, he's going to run that, and if you're going behind, it'll never get there in time.
Well, that's called trust, Bill. That's the trust factor of continually working with each other, continuing talking, and say, hey, I'm going to try not to throw you into a kill shot, but if I'm going to throw you the ball in this case, because you're my dude, you have to be in this spot, and I'll get it to you. So I don't think they've felt totally comfortable with that yet. CD is very fluid. He can do things on the move. And I think he just, sometimes he wants to play sandlot a little bit. Mm-hmm. Do that in critical situations like that.
Looking not only back at the Packers, but ahead to the Vikings this week. It's the fourth of 4 straight games against NFC North teams for the Cowboys. Started with wins over the Lions and the Bears, a loss to the Packers. And I don't know if they beat the Vikings, if that means they win the NFC North, but it puts them closer to winning the NFC North. No, but let's look at the NFC East first, George, because on Monday night, you had Washington go into Philly and win what turned out to be a 32-21 game. They got a late touchdown on a desperation play. But Washington goes in there, and you talk about the Packers running the football on the Cowboys, how many for over 200 yards. Well, Washington goes in there, and they had 49 rushes against that Eagles defense that likes to pin its ears back and get after the quarterback too.
Well, that bodes well for us to know that we still can move the ball, run the ball with Zeke and Pollard and whoever else we want when we play against the Eagles. Problem is that also says that the Commanders are going to be trying to run the ball on us at the same time, so that's something that we really got to show up about it. But, in the end, I'm glad that the Eagles lost the game, get us one game closer. We got to, try to keep rooting for some losses for the Eagles so that we can hopefully get into a good position for the playoff run.
Well, and right now the Cowboys, and if the Eagles had won that game on Monday night, the Cowboys would have been 3 games back in the division, and with the Eagles with a tiebreaker as it stands right now. And now it's a 2-game lead for the Eagles over the Cowboys with the Giants 1 game out. All right, so how critical? It's 2 games in 5 days. Cowboys are going up against a Vikings team that's 8-1 and a Giants team on Thanksgiving Day that is 7-2. So 2 teams with a combined record of 15-3 on the season. 2 critical games in a span of 5 days, George.
It's very, very critical. One, you got to worry about rest and preparation. Coaches have to be doing a good job of trying to get all the things together. But then I got to figure out how to get the guys some rest because, when you go into a game like this against the Vikings, it's going to be up there. It's going to be another physical match. It's going to be one that you really, really need to win in this quarter of the season. But then try to turn around. I can't even tell you how hard it is to try to play on Sunday to Thursday. That is so difficult to do. It typically takes you 2 days, maybe 2.5 days to get rested. That's all you got. Monday, Tuesday, practice Wednesday, and you're playing on Thursday. It's very hard to do. Very hard.
Yeah, and it's a 3:25 game on Sunday, and so they won't be getting back here until nearly midnight on Sunday night, and then turning around and playing on Thursday against the Giants. All right, and now they're facing a Vikings team that's been on the road with 2 big wins the last couple of weeks. And they're coming home, and those fans are going to be fired up with the Cowboys coming in. That is going to be a hostile environment in Minnesota on Sunday afternoon.
Yes, it is. I've been in that stadium. It's actually pretty nice and pretty cool. But I'll tell you what, when you hear them yelling "Skull" and they got that big horn going and motorcycle and all this other kind of stuff going on, it gets pretty intimidating. And then when you got to deal with Dalvin Cook, Justin Jefferson, I would say Kirk Cousins, but I ain't all the way sold on Kirk Cousins, but he's doing a few things. It's going to be a very tough place to play in. So, make sure everyone tunes in on Sunday at 10:30 to find out what we got to talk about with this and our keys to winning the game, because it's going to be a very good challenge for our defense, but also for our offense.
Yep, at 10:30 on Sunday morning, Cowboys game day. And by the way, the game is on CBS 11 at 3:25 on Sunday afternoon. So you can just keep it on CBS 11 all afternoon. We'll break it all down on Sunday morning. George, we appreciate it. And we'll see you again we'll see you Sunday morning, and then also next week here on CBS in Dallas-Fort Worth. Thanks, George.
See you soon.